So guys, with the two papers that you have in front of you, again, the Law of Conservation of Mass Lab, and then this grade reflection paper, do you need this, Alex? Yeah. Okay. Guys, what I want to do is I want to talk about this grade reflection paper with you first. So you have that one? Okay. So guys, reflecting back on first quarter, we talked about the idea that one of the things that you want to be doing as a student is looking at the grades that you earned, which are now finalized, and then connecting those grades with the work that you did over the quarter. I don't want to go into this in great detail because we've already talked about this. But guys, that leads us to this conversation. And we're going to take a couple minutes now. We're actually going to fill this out, and you're going to be turning it in. So guys, the conversation goes like this. Looking at your work, looking at your grades, and then connecting that with these two big ideas. That your grades should be a reflection of the quality of your work when it was due and your mastery of content. Guys, I want you to commit to one of these three lines. You are physically going to put an X on one of these three lines. So guys, line number 1 basically reads like this. Looking at my grades, looking at my work, it all lines up. Now guys, understand that doesn't mean you have an A. You could be looking at your work and going, I got an A-, but guess what? My work merited that A-, could be a C. But guys, whatever it is, if you check box number 1, you're simply saying the work that I did lines up with the grade that I received. Then guys, number 2 is this, and this is where we're going to spend a second. Guys, looking at number 2, it's simply saying this. Looking at my work, looking at my grade, I don't think they line up. I do not believe that my grade is an accurate representation of my mastery and the work that I did, the quality of the work that I did, and I'd like to talk with you about that. Guys, I would love to have these conversations, and I would encourage you, if you believe that's true, check box number 2, and then guys, come and make an appointment with me. I'm not going to reach out to you. It is your responsibility to make an appointment with me. Now guys, number 3, and this is going to provide a segue into what we're going to talk about in just a minute. Guys, number 3 is Miss Call and I tipping our hat to the understanding that this was a weird first quarter. We all learned a lot first quarter as we learned to make sense of the craziness of these schedules that are continually changing. So guys, that leads us to number 3, and it simply says this. Yeah, my grade is what it should have been, but I believe that my grade was inversely impacted by things that were out of my control. This is not representative of who I am as a student, and I would like you to please average my second and first quarter grades and replace my first quarter grade with the average of those two, basically giving you an opportunity to redeem this and providing you the opportunity to establish different grades over longer periods of time. Now guys, if that's the one that you choose, you'll notice there's space at the bottom. Wishful thinking gets you absolutely nowhere. So guys, if you really believe that this is not representative of who you are as a student, guys, something has to change. And I'll tell you right now, the thing that is not going to change is the craziness of our schedule at Orem High. Guys, right now, this very minute, probably somebody is a couple days away from being quarantined. Because there's probably somebody in this room that in the next few days is going to test positive, and now we're back in confined spaces, and the bomb's going to go off, and you're going to get the email that says, oh my gosh, I've been quarantined. Guys, that's not going to get better. And the way that we manage class is not going to change. So if you think your grade's going to change, you're going to have to change. So the question is this, what are you going to do differently? And guys, I want you to write these things down. If you check box number 3, and if you don't provide suggestions in terms of what you're going to do differently, I'm not going to average your grade. And understand, guys, at the end of the quarter, I'm not just going to automatically do this. Your responsibility will be to come to me at the end of the quarter, right before Christmas break, and go, hey, Mr. Knappenberger, I checked box number 3. I'd like to sit down and talk with you about the goals that I set, the things I plan to do differently, and how that made my grade better. And guys, without that conversation, I'm not going to do this for you. So guys, let me give you a second. If you need a moment, if you're checking box 3, you're going to fill out the bottom. Otherwise, guys, sit tight for a second. If you want to look over your Law of Conservation and Mass Lab and make sure that's tightened up, that would be a great idea. And guys, while you're doing that, I've got a packet of paper that I'm going to give you. And then I'm going to collect your chapter or your grade reflections from you in just a moment. Hang on to this packet of paper that I'm giving you. This is one of the things, guys, that we're going to do differently this quarter. And we'll talk about it in just a moment. All right. So guys, again, let me give you just a second to wrap up that grade reflection paper, and then I'm going to grab those from you. You guys all done? Does anyone need more time on that? Okay, do this then, please. Obviously, your name goes on this sheet. No name, nothing I can do. Guys, hand them to the aisle, please, this center aisle. If you're in Miss Call's class, sorry, I'm recording this for Miss Call. She's out today. If you're in Miss Call's class, you'll be turning this into the basket. But in either case, you need to make sure that your teachers are getting these. Thank you. Not yet. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Got it. Beautiful. Thanks. Oh, big stretch. Do you just need more time, Rat? Okay, so just don't leave without giving it to me. Okay, you're fine. All right. So, guys, that then was the first thing that we needed to do in order to be stepping into second quarter. What I want to do really briefly is I want to talk with you about some observations that Ms. Call and I made looking back at second quarter. Or, I'm sorry, first quarter as we move into second quarter. Guys, I think that you would agree that first quarter was strange and unusual. And we learned a lot about how to manage this stuff looking forward. And Ms. Call and I made some changes. And certainly you'll be making some changes as well. Because I want to explain to you one of the changes that Ms. Call and I made. We heard repeatedly from students that were in quarantine that they were having a hard time getting the documents that they needed, like homework assignments and things like that, in order to stay current in the class. So guys, if you grab this packet of paper that you now have in your possession, this is it. This is all of the homework for this unit. We are no longer handing out assignments one assignment at a time. We are now handing them out by unit. So guys, minus the labs, because the labs are not in here. Guys, this is all of the homework for the unit. So if and when you get quarantined and you're at home, certainly you're going to interact with the website and get the stuff that you need, but you don't even need to have a printer anymore because everything that you need is right here. Guys, it's in chronological order. You'll notice that at the top of the pages, like if you turn to page 3, there's a number 2, and then if you turn the page again, there's a number 3. Well, 2 pages later. Guys, they're listed by assignment. So if you get stuck in quarantine, and if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have a printer, I need access to stuff, guys, you now have everything that you need for the quarter except for the labs. So, guys, in that spirit, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on this right now, we are going to calendar in a second. But guys, I'd like to share this. Let me just show you. So guys, looking at today's date, which is the 22nd, this is not a change to the disclosure document. These are clarifications. I'm not even going to pull up the document right now. If you would like to read this on your own, that's fine. But we are going to be referencing these things throughout the quarter as they become important. But guys, the one thing that we do need to talk about right now is this. Please hear this. If you are quarantined, if you are gone from class, if you are not here, the expectation without exception is that you stay caught up with the class. If it's a day of lecture and homework, you watch the video, you do the homework. If you have questions, you email them to your teachers, and you submit the assignment just like you were in class. If it is a lab or an activity, you do that from home. But guys, we do not expect you to email in the labs, things that you physically turn in. You may bring those to us when you come back from quarantine or when you come back. But guys, the bottom line is this. If you're gone, the expectation is you're caught up. No excuses, no extensions. You stay caught up. Because guys, if you're quarantined, you don't have anything to do. You're not sick. You're sitting there doing nothing. Guys, your responsibility is to stay in step with class. Now, what if you're actually sick? Guys, then you need to let your teachers know. We don't know unless you talk with us. And if you're at home and you can't work, we will work with you all day long. But guys, understand, just being out for quarantine is no longer a, hey, I'm going to come back and take care of it then. You're still a student even if you're at home. So guys, please keep that in mind. If you have questions, let me know. All of this is in that clarifications document. But guys, we're not going to pull it up and read it. So guys, this is where we are right now moving forward. Questions, thoughts, things that you all need to talk about as we regroup? Yeah? Thank you very much. I actually meant to touch on that. Guys, let's talk about Wednesdays. So here's the deal. I need to be careful about how I talk about this. So guys, Wednesdays, you no longer come to school. These are days that the district has set aside for teachers to support their online students. With that said, the suggestion that we've got from the district is that we can leverage this time sensitively, but we can leverage this time at home to have you guys work on stuff. So understand, on Wednesday, you're still a student. You still have school, it's just from home. Now guys, how your particular teachers choose to address this is up to them. But guys, here's the scoop for our class. We are not going to give you work on Wednesdays. But with that said, if you look at Wednesday the 28th, you're like, wait a second, there's stuff on that day. And I'll explain that in just a minute. But guys, the blanket understanding is we are not going to have you do stuff on Wednesdays. But there may be occasional days where there are things that just don't fit in that need to be done at home. We will let you know about them well in advance, and you'll have an opportunity to look at these things. But guys, for the most part, we're going to leave Wednesdays alone. Your teachers have been instructed no more than 30 minutes. And so that's where we're at with that. So guys, please.
No more than 30 minutes total, or no more than 30 minutes
Per class. Per class. Go ahead, McKay.
Does that mean that we can't come to school at all?
That's a really good question, and to be honest with you, I don't know the answer to that. The blanket policy is you're not on campus. Whether or not teachers can invite you, I frankly don't know. I know that I'm not planning on that. Other teachers may, but teachers that are planning on really using this as an instructional day, it's going to be over Zoom. So they're not planning on holding class. Whether they can be available for consultation, I'm not sure. Guys, other questions? Y'all okay? Okay. So guys, with that said, what I'd like to do is I'd like to look at the calendar with you. Guys, let me just share one more thought with you and then we'll dig in. So looking at the calendar, you'll notice that not much has changed. We've got activities, we've got days of lecture and homework and things like that. But guys, as you're thinking about this grade reflection paper that you just filled out, allow me to provide some feedback to you. Guys, at the end of the quarter, I sat down and I looked over your grades. And then I compared your grades with Miss Call's grades. And guess what? Every single one of my classes had fewer A's and a lower average grade than Miss Call's classes. Let me say that again. Every single one of my classes had fewer A's and a lower average grade than Miss Call's classes. Want to guess why? Because you guys dropped the ball turning in your homework. Here's the difference. You guys know that we submit homework assignments online. And what happened was Miss Call was actually having her, right, we just got done looking over homework, and I would turn to you guys and I would say, hey guys, remember to record your homework tonight? Miss Call at that moment said, hey guys, grab your phones and access our website and record your homework right now. As a result, she had very, very few late assignments and very, very few zeros. Guys, looking at your grades, it was the opposite. It was a bunch of zeros and a bunch of sevens because you dropped the ball. So what's the answer to that problem? Well, the answer is not for me to take on Miss Call's processes. Guys, it's not too much to ask of a 17-year-old to remember one thing every 4 days before midnight that night. So guys, actually what's happening is Miss Call is no longer giving her students the opportunity to turn these in during class. So guys, what that means is you've got to come up with a system that works to remind you to turn in your homework. You could even go to the calendar and go, oh, look, I have homework due on the 2nd of November. I'm going to set an alarm on my phone for the 2nd of November at 11 o'clock at night that says, turn in my homework. But guys, at some point, you've got to become responsible for the organization that it takes to follow through on things like that. So guys, if you're trying to figure out what can I do to make my grade go up, one of the great places to start is look at your homework scores. A lot of you have zeros and sevens because you weren't following through. So with that said, guys, let me explain to you what we're doing for the next few weeks. So guys, today, in just a couple minutes, we're going to start on an activity that I'll explain to you more in a minute. Guys, understand this is an activity which you'll be turning in next time in class, which will be Monday. This you'll give to me. Then guys, coming back after the weekend, we're going to do a lab, and then we are going to take advantage of our Wednesday time very briefly this first time, but not again for the rest of the year, I don't think. So guys, what we've got here are actually a series of videos, and let me just explain this to you. So we are about to get into a unit, and guys, it's actually fascinating. Guys, we're going to get into a unit where all of a sudden all of this stuff is going to make sense. It's actually brilliant. So these are all electrons. This is actually what electrons are doing as they move around the nucleus of an atom. And guys, the task that we have for the next 3 weeks is to help you figure all of this stuff out. And guys, it's wacky, crazy stuff. So what we're going to do is today we're going to build a little bit of a foundation. On Monday, we're going to go into lab and we're going to start to play with how do we know this stuff is true. But then, guys, on Wednesday or before Wednesday, all we're going to ask you to do is watch 4 YouTube videos. They're about 6 or 7 minutes long each. So you're looking at less than half an hour of work. And guys, I don't want you to learn anything. The expectation as you watch these videos is I want you to watch them and just go, holy smokes, this is confusing, my mind is blown, and I can't wait to learn this stuff. Guys, the expectation is that you just watch these videos and interact with them as you go. So how are you going to do that? Well, guys, grab your homework packet. Turn to assignment 2. No, just stay. No. So guys, turning to assignment number 2, you'll notice that there's actually places for you not to take notes, but to jot thoughts while you're watching these videos. Not sentences. Seriously, chicken scratch. And you're just writing down, in this video, what did I know? And then what did I find interesting fundamentally? And you're doing that for all the videos. This is homework. So once you're done with this, you will submit it, and you'll notice the reporting pages are there. So then, guys, coming back after our day off Wednesday, hey, can we do that in 4 minutes? It will literally be 4 minutes. Okay.
Or just show me.
Oh. Uh-oh, thank you. That's weird. So, guys, after that, then we're going to come back and we're going to shift into a series of days of learning as we're going to move closer and closer to this new model. That then takes us into November, and then we're looking at our test on November 9th. Guys, you'll notice that we've planned out for the entire year through December. And again, one of the things that Ms. Call and I are committing to is staying organized in an effort to help you guys be more successful. So again, these videos that were on Wednesday, you can watch you can do them tonight and be done with it. You just have to have them done by next Wednesday at midnight. So be watching that. And guys, be sure to record that assignment. Don't let your grades suffer simply because you're not following through on things. So guys, this is where we're at. Now questions. or can we dig into what we're doing? You guys okay? All right, so guys, do this. So grabbing the homework packet, please grab pages 1 and 2 and carefully remove them. Try not to pull the staple. So guys, this is not a homework assignment. This is an activity which you're going to be turning in next time. But let me explain to you what you're doing today. This will take 3 minutes, and then the rest of the time is yours to work on this. So guys, today what we're doing is we're starting a unit where we're digging into what do atoms actually look like. And guys, if I ask you to draw an atom, most of you would probably draw something that looks like the solar system. The sun is the nucleus. The electrons are like planets moving around the sun. And guys, that couldn't be more wrong. But about 100 years ago, we thought it was right. So guys, the fundamental idea here is what we understand about atoms is based on a series of researchers. And these researchers make discoveries about atoms that help us better and better understand what these ridiculously small little things look like. Guys, that leads us to today. Grab these papers. You'll notice that they're repetitious. That if you sort of stack them up in front of you, one over the other, you'll notice on the left there are 6 researchers: Dalton, Thomson, Millikan, Rutherford, Bohr, and Schrodinger. And then guys, moving to the right, you'll notice that you've got space below their names to take notes. You can write down whatever there you want. Then guys, off to the right says diagram of their experiment, discovery, and then drawing of their atomic model. So guys, here's the deal. These 6 researchers are the big shots from the late 1800s up until present day in terms of what we believe atoms look like. We're not done, but we're well on our way. So guys, here's what you're going to do. You're going to research each of these 6 scientists, and you're going to fill out the boxes to the right. So where it says diagram of experiment, each of these 6 scientists are known for an experiment. You're going to draw a picture of what that experiment looked like. Then guys, in the next box, what did they discover? What about an atom did they discover by doing that experiment? Now guys, after that last box, where it says drawing of their atomic model, here's the thing. The one thing all 6 of these people have in common is they're all dead. So here's what you're going to do. Imagine that you grab a Ouija board, have a seance, and bring these guys back from the dead. And you hand them a pen, and you go, hey, J.J. Thomson, draw me what an atom looks like. The question is, what would they draw in the box? Given what they understood about the atom back in that day, what did they believe that atoms looked like? So guys, we are going to grab Chromebooks. You're going to work on this individually just so we can cut down on the potential for quarantine issues. So everybody's going to grab a Chromebook, and we are going to start working on this. Guys, anything you don't get done is homework, but let me show you what we did for you. Going out to today's date in our calendar, if you click on the second thing where it says links, guys, you'll notice that we have a curated set of links that will take you to resources that will help you better understand what these people did. So guys, we now have about 45 minutes to work on this. The remainder of the day is this. Anything that you don't get done, you'll be turning in, you'll do as homework, and we'll turn these in Monday. As you're coming to get a Chromebook, please put your Law of Conservation and Mass Lab in the basket. And then guys, this is important. When you're done with these Chromebooks, we got a rag and we got squirty juice. So what you're going to do is you're going to spray some squirty juice on the rag, if it works. Spray some squirty juice. Please wipe down the laptop, then close it up. Put it away where it belongs. Guys, they're numbered. Keep them in order. And then please plug them in. So guys, the rest of the time is yours. Go get them. And don't forget to turn in your Law of Conservation and Mass Lab.